It was a quiet morning in the suburbs of Harris County, Texas, just another ordinary day in a peaceful neighborhood. Children were getting ready for school, parents were heading off to work, birds chirped, lawns were being watered, and the air carried no sign of the horror that was about to unfold. But within minutes, a calm street turned into a chilling crime scene. No warning, no screams, just 3 cold, sharp pops, caught entirely on camera and recorded on audio by the victim herself. What happened that morning would send shockwaves across the nation and leave even hardened detectives shaken. This is the story of Patricia Birmingham, a loving mother, a successful woman, and a victim of domestic terror, and her husband, Carrie Birmingham, who coldly executed her with a shotgun in their driveway, then stood over her body like nothing happened. But this wasn't just another case of a drunk man snapping. The truth was far worse. The 911 call that changed everything. December 6, 2021. A resident of Rose Dawn Lane dialed 911 with a trembling voice. "We heard 3 pops like gunshots. I went outside. Someone's lying on the ground. Blood, chest, mouth. I think she's dead." Police and EMS rushed to the 19800 block of Rose Dawn Lane. Officers arrived within minutes, unsure of what they'd find. What they encountered would begin a harrowing investigation that uncovered not just a murder, but years of torment, mental abuse, and a final desperate attempt by a woman to document her own death. The scene calm after Carnage. Patricia Birmingham lay in her driveway, lifeless, a gunshot wound straight through her eye. The blast had destroyed much of her face. She would later require a closed casket at her funeral. Her Tesla sat behind her, its tires shot out, front and back, preventing any chance she had of fleeing. Standing beside her was her husband, 60-year-old Carrie Birmingham. He wasn't hiding, he wasn't running. He was standing there in a bathrobe, calm, confused, and severely intoxicated. Police immediately detained him. As he slurred and staggered, he made a request that chilled officers. "Please shoot me, I'm not a criminal." But the evidence already said otherwise. The murder weapon and a critical discovery inside the home. Near the kitchen, police recovered a Benelli shotgun leaning against the wall. This was the murder weapon. Shell casings at the scene matched the firearm. But something else caught their eye in the garage. On top of water bottles, they discovered Patricia's cell phone. It was smeared in blood, damaged, but still functioning. What that phone contained would prove to be one of the most damning pieces of evidence in a murder case, and one of the most haunting. 30 minutes of fear. Recorded by the victim herself. Investigators obtained a warrant and accessed the phone. What they found was a chilling 30-minute audio file recorded by Patricia just before her death. Her voice is trembling. Carrie's voice, drunken and loud, dominates the background, hurling insults, making threats, and spinning delusions of betrayal and affairs. "I should just kill you right now," Carrie growls. "Do it." Patricia responds, exhausted and worn down. This wasn't the voice of a woman trying to provoke. It was the voice of a woman who had endured years of abuse, trying to capture the truth before it was too late. Escalation. Surveillance footage and witness behavior. Neighbors' surveillance cameras helped build a timeline. One clip shows Patricia calmly walking down the street, holding her phone, filming her husband following her from a distance. He was barefoot, wrapped in a bathrobe, stumbling, slurring, but relentless. She wasn't screaming, she wasn't running, but she was filming, because this wasn't the first time Carrie had done something like this. She knew to document, she knew to collect evidence. As she walked, she could be heard telling him, "You're embarrassing yourself." But what she didn't realize was that humiliation would be the trigger for Carrie to turn deadly. A history of control and threats. Patricia's friends confirmed what investigators suspected. This wasn't a sudden act of passion. This had been building for years. "She told me Carrie had pulled a gun on her before," one friend recalled. Patricia had tried to downplay it. She was successful, independent, and strong. But behind closed doors, she was being emotionally battered. Carrie accused her of cheating, of dishonoring him, of destroying their family. In the recordings, Carrie lashes out. "You're having an affair with that Mexican! You've gained weight. You don't even look healthy." He degraded her, mocked her, and tried to turn everything into her fault. But Patricia stayed calm. For Olivia, their daughter, for her future, she stayed until she couldn't. The murder, captured on camera and audio, the last moments of Patricia's life did not vanish into silence. They were preserved in chilling detail. not by an unknown witness, not by a neighbor's surveillance system, but by Patricia herself. Her phone became the final recorder of truth. She had it running in her hand as the confrontation with her husband, Carrie, unfolded. The audio begins with a question. Carrie, his voice firm but edged with tension, asks, "You really want this on video?" Patricia, calm but determined, answers, "Go ahead. Your neighbors are going to see you pointing a gun at me." She was defiant, unwilling to back down, even in the face of mortal danger. Her words carried a quiet strength, but they were also her last. Moments later, a gunshot cracked through the stillness. Patricia fell instantly, her body collapsing before she could even cry out. Within seconds, 2 more shots rang out, not into her, but into the tires of her car. Carrie had made certain there would be no possibility of her fleeing. He had stripped her of every option for survival. The phone recorded it all: the fear, the threat, and the execution. This recording became the centerpiece of the case, a horrifying testimony left by the victim herself. It captured not only the act, but the mindset of her killer, showing the world a crime that was both deliberate and merciless. Carrie's arrest and the trial that shocked the nation. When police arrived, Carrie did not resist. He was arrested at the scene, standing over the devastation he had caused. Strikingly, he did not deny what he had done, nor did he confess. He refused to speak during interrogation, giving detectives nothing but silence. Yet, his silence did not hide the truth. Carrie's blood alcohol level was elevated, but officers quickly noted that he was not impaired to the point of confusion. He was steady. He was deliberate. Witnesses and investigators observed that he had checked the safety on the gun before using it. He had responded clearly to Patricia's defiant words. He had aimed with precision, striking her and then disabling her car. Every action revealed calculation, not a sudden loss of control. This was no tragic accident, no impulsive outburst fueled by alcohol or emotion. This was a killing that carried the marks of intent. Carrie had taken the steps of a man who knew exactly what he was doing, and the evidence left behind, especially Patricia's own recording, erased all doubt. When the trial began, the courtroom was transfixed. The prosecution played the recording for the jury, and the sound of Patricia's voice, followed by the gunfire, brought gasps and tears from those listening. The defense argued about intoxication and emotional stress, but the recording showed otherwise. Jurors heard the calm, methodical precision in Carrie's actions. The nation followed the case with horror and fascination. It was more than a murder trial. It was a reminder of how violence can strike in the most intimate of spaces, and how technology can sometimes give the dead a voice. Patricia's phone became her final witness, ensuring her story could not be buried. The shocking sentence, just 10 years, in March 2024, the case went to court. Prosecutors presented damning evidence: the shotgun, the surveillance footage, the audio recording, and testimony from friends and family. Carrie's defense argued that this was a crime of sudden passion. Despite everything, the threats, the recordings, the gunshots, an all-female jury ruled in favor of the crime of passion argument. Carrie Birmingham was sentenced to just 10 years in prison with parole eligibility after 5 years. The courtroom gasped. Patricia's family, justice failed her. Patricia's sister, unable to hold back tears, spoke out. He was manipulative, narcissistic, a functioning alcoholic. I never believed he'd pull the trigger, but when he said, "Go meet Jesus," and fired that shot, I knew he had planned this. Their daughter, Olivia, testified that her father had emotionally and financially abused them both for years, and now she had lost her mother and would soon lose her to time. How can this be justice? She asked. He could be out in 5 years. Police, this case was different. One detective described the case as "owed like any we've ever had." We don't usually have audio. We don't have 30 minutes of a woman documenting her murder. She knew she was in danger. She told us everything. She gave us the truth. And still, justice let her down. Another officer added, Carrie was aware. He wasn't blacked out. He aimed. He confirmed the safety was off. He told her goodbye. This wasn't sudden. It was planned, and yet the jury ruled otherwise. A final message from Patricia. Patricia Birmingham did everything right. She didn't just speak up, she documented everything. She collected proof. She tried to escape. She warned people. She confided in friends. And when she saw that the end was near, she hit record. Her voice still echoes through the final moments of that day. She wasn't just a victim. She was a witness, a mother, a fighter, and her final act gave the world the truth. Justice, or just a delay? Carrie Birmingham will one day walk free. Patricia Birmingham never will. But thanks to her bravery and foresight, we know exactly what happened. We know the truth behind the silence. This case is more than a murder, it's a warning. That danger doesn't always knock. Sometimes it walks beside you, sleeps next to you, tells you it loves you, and still pulls the trigger.